They say some stories are too strange to be true. Fire and brimstone raining from the sky, cities reduced to ash, a single night that erased whole communities and left only a warning carved into scripture. For centuries, the fate of Sodom and Gomorrah lived in the realm of myth and morality, until scientists began to find a physical echo of that ancient tale, bored from beneath the earth. The biblical account is short and furious. Genesis describes cities of great wickedness, so corrupt that divine judgment comes as a storm of sulfur and fire. Lot flees with his family. His wife looks back and becomes a pillar of salt. The cities vanish. For believers and skeptics alike, the image is unforgettable, an annihilating blaze descending from the heavens, leaving only desolation and a moral lesson wrapped in devastation. For a long time, explanations clustered into two camps, metaphor or miracle. But in recent decades, archaeologists and geologists have added a scientific hypothesis that is both surprising and unsettling. The scene in Genesis, an almost instantaneous incineration, pillars turned to glass, bears a striking resemblance to what happens when a cosmic object explodes above a city, a so-called airburst. When a comet fragment or meteor enters the atmosphere at tremendous speed, friction and pressure can explode it in mid-air. The resulting blast can be hotter than the surface of the sun for a brief instant, unleashing temperatures high enough to melt rock, vitrify clay, and blow down buildings with a pressure wave. The story pivots from scripture to earth in 2021, when a team led by archaeologist Steve Collins published findings from Tall el Hammam, a Bronze Age city in what is now Jordan. This site had been excavated for years, revealing a once thriving city that around 1650 BCE experienced catastrophic destruction. The disaster layer contains something extraordinary: pottery and mudbrick fused into glass, minerals shocked in ways that require extreme heat and pressure, a debris field of microscopic spherules and high-temperature melt glass, and charred human remains, suggestive of sudden exposure to intense thermal radiation. Laboratory analyses told a dramatic story. Temperatures had reached thousands of degrees, brief but sufficient to transform ordinary mudbrick into a glassy, vitrified material. Some materials showed signatures of energies typical of cosmic impacts, including shocked quartz and elevated levels of platinum group elements. The distribution of destruction fit a massive airburst model, a near-surface explosion that radiated a blistering pulse of heat before a terrifying shockwave flattened structures. In short, a city incinerated from above. The parallels to Genesis are uncanny. The biblical language of fire, brimstone, and sudden ruination mirrors what an airburst would look like to witnesses: a blinding flash, a torrent of heat burning that consumes wooden roofs and melts clay walls, and a thunderous blast that topples buildings and razes the landscape. A stunned population could easily describe the blast as divine retribution. The sensory reality, sudden, total, and terrifying, would naturally be framed in the moral and theological terms of the age. Skeptics caution that linking Tall el Hammam directly to Sodom and Gomorrah is still speculative. The archaeology, radiocarbon dates, and regional correlations are compelling but not conclusive. The biblical text may aggregate memories from many events or express theological meaning rather than strict historical reportage. Yet the Tall el Hammam findings offer a powerful, testable explanation for an otherwise puzzling description. What if the fire and brimstone was not metaphoric, but the earthly aftermath of a cosmic airburst? If so, the ancient storytellers and the modern scientists have something in common. Both are trying to make sense of an event that defied ordinary explanation. One framed it as divine justice. The other decoded it as a natural catastrophe of staggering violence. Either way, the image persists. A life erased in an instant, the sky itself turned into an agent of destruction, and a lesson engraved in memory and myth. In the end, Tall el Hammam does not prove every detail of the biblical account, nor does it strip the story of its moral potency. Instead, it offers a bridge between myth and matter, a plausible physical scenario that could have birthed the very language of fire and brimstone. Whether you read it as miracle or meteor, the result is the same, a reminder of how small and suddenly fragile human settlements can be beneath an indifferent sky.